Your Excellency President Ruto, my brother Commissioner Muchanga, Secretary General Benis of AEZO, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to address you, and I thank the African Union Commission and the Africa Economic Zones Organization for inviting me to participate in this important gathering. Special economic zones, SEZs, and free zones have proven to be useful tools for development, given the right conditions and support. The most successful zones provide an enabling environment through improved infrastructure, trade facilitation measures, and strategic clustering for industrial growth and economic resilience. SEZs are not and should not be merely about tax privileges or incentives. They are about unlocking the potential of targeted areas, creating synergies among industries, and overcoming specific constraints to build competitiveness from the ground up. Done right, they can become genuine poles of economic transformation, and this is every bit as true for Africa as it has been elsewhere. Special economic zones represent a critical tool for economic development, but their effectiveness hinges on strategic design and international regulatory compliance. Too often, governments create free zones that inadvertently conflict with WTO rules by tying fiscal benefits to export performance or domestic content requirements. These approaches create legal vulnerabilities that can undermine the very economic advantages that these zones are meant to generate. The path forward requires a nuanced approach. Governments must carefully eliminate export-related incentives and domestic content requirements that could trigger international trade disputes, particularly in non-least developed countries. Moreover, they must thoughtfully manage the tax treatment of goods produced in these zones when they are sold domestically. Because of their simplified import processes involving duties and taxes, special economic zones often come under scrutiny as potential conduits for illicit trade, exploiting customs exemptions. However, being outside the customs territory does not mean that no customs controls or procedures should apply to companies, operators, and goods in these zones. Governments are right to view special economic zones as tools for trade facilitation, and the WTO's Trade Facilitation Agreement offers a set of measures that can be implemented in these zones to maximize economic opportunities while effectively combating illicit trade. The true potential of special economic zones extends far beyond traditional fiscal incentives and customs exemptions. These zones can serve as powerful policy sandboxes, as close as policymakers can get to control laboratories, where they can pilot transformative trade facilitation strategies before implementing them nationwide. Governments can trial measures such as single window systems, advanced digital customs processes, authorized operators, agency cooperation, innovative risk management techniques, and integrated infrastructure solutions in a contained setting. By reimagining special economic zones as platforms for structural innovation rather than mere tax havens, nations can create compelling investment destinations that drive economic progress whilst maintaining rigorous international standards. These zones become more than economic enclaves. They become proving grounds for national economic transformation. Success in special economic zones demands more than policy. It requires genuine partnership. Governments and private sector leaders must engage in a robust ongoing dialogue to reimagine these economic spaces. By bringing together enterprises, research institutions, government services providers, and businesses in close proximity, special economic zones foster innovation and create opportunities for skills and know-how development. Close private and public sector collaboration can result in incentive structures being designed in ways that are both compelling to investors and aligned with international standards. This is not about constraining economic potential, but about unlocking it, crafting zones that are agile, attractive, and aligned with the evolving demands of modern business, as well as with global economic dynamics. For African economies, special economic zones represent an opportunity to build competitiveness and create zones of excellence, not just zones of exception. As economies diversify, we see more zones developing around service sectors, from tourism to tech. As with manufacturing, fully leveraging this potential requires governments to provide essential services. In this case, reliable power, internet connectivity, digital infrastructure, and skills development. The WTO plays an important role in this journey. Our rules-based framework supports a predictable trade environment that provides African special economic zones with access to inputs, markets, and new opportunities. Additionally, our capacity building activities and technical assistance are dedicated to helping developing countries better integrate into global trade, fostering industrial development and creating sustainable jobs. One example is the work we're doing with the Cotton 4+ countries in Africa, which includes Côte d'Ivoire, partnering with stakeholders to scale up value addition and connect them to lucrative global markets like the $260 billion global sports apparel market. The Special Economic Zone investment of Arise in the Republic of Benin and another one under construction in Côte d'Ivoire are part of this process. This demonstrates how international cooperation can support value addition and sustainable development. Investment is critical for economic transformation. It turns potential into progress. At our last ministerial conference in Abu Dhabi, a group of WTO members took a landmark step forward with the Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement. This plurilateral agreement, which is now supported by 128 economies spanning all regions and with various levels of development, promises to simplify investment processes and sweep away red tape, creating a more transparent environment for businesses across all economic sectors. For African WTO members not yet participating, I encourage you to actively explore this agreement and work towards its full incorporation into the WTO framework. This would help the continent attract more investment aimed at regional and global value chains. As we look forward, let me summarize 3 critical insights about special economic zones. First, strategic design matters. Special economic zones are powerful development tools, but they must be carefully crafted to align with global trade rules, avoiding WTO compliance risks whilst maintaining investment attractiveness. Second, beyond fiscal incentives, these zones are not just tax havens, but policy laboratories and innovation platforms that can test transformative trade strategies and support economic diversification. Third, investment facilitation is key. Investment is critical for economic transformation, and special economic zones are just one tool. The Investment Facilitation for Development Agreement is another crucial mechanism that can enhance investment flows, and it is essential for African nations to actively participate and incorporate it into the WTO framework. By combining thoughtful zone design with strong infrastructure and international cooperation, we can redefine African competitiveness sustainably and equitably. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to hearing about the outcomes of this meeting.